For our top story tonight, 24 hours after India conducted those audacious airstrikes on terror camps inside Pakistani territory, Pakistan has attempted to strike back today. Pakistani Air Force jets today entered Indian airspace along the line of control. A dogfight ensued in which one Indian jet crashed into Pakistani territory and an Indian pilot has been captured alive by the Pakistanis. Imran Khan warning that war could have unintended consequences even while appealing for peace. Our top story tonight is a conflict that seems to be escalating all the time.
The anticipated retaliation from Pakistan came a little more than 24 hours after India bombed the Jaish terror camp in Balakot. Pakistan sent 3 fighter jets to the line of control, but they were spotted by Indian Sukhois and MiG-21s that were already on patrol. A dogfight ensued, forcing the Pakistani jets to retreat. In the operation, India lost 1 MiG-21 and a pilot was captured by the Pakistani forces. The first confirmation from the Indian side came after 3 p.m.
One Pakistan Air Force fighter aircraft was shot down by a MiG-21 Bison of the Indian Air Force. The Pakistani aircraft was seen by ground forces falling from the sky on the Pakistan side. In this engagement, we have unfortunately lost 1 MiG-21. The pilot is missing in action.
The Pakistani jets were engaged by the Indian fighters in the Nowshera sector in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district. The hostile jets dropped bombs at 4 locations before returning.
पाकिस्तान की साइड से पुंछ सेक्टर की साइड से कम 4 बम्बर जहाज पाकिस्तानी इस रास्ते में आए और यहाँ उन्होंने आके कम से कम 4-5 हो सकता है ज़्यादा भी हो तो उन्होंने बम यहाँ गिराए और यहाँ का नुकसान भी जो है पेड़ों का बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ है 200-250 पेड़ जो है वो लॉस हो चुका है.
Islamabad was the first to confirm the skirmish in the sky, calling it a display of capabilities and non-military action. Hours later, the Pakistani Prime Minister released a video message offering talks with India.
जो हथियार आपके पास हैं और हमारे पास हैं, क्या हम मिसकैलकुलेशन अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं? क्या हमें इस वक्त सोचना नहीं चाहिए कि ये अगर यहां से एस्केलेट होती है तो ये किधर जाएगी? ना मेरे कंट्रोल में होगी, ना नरेंद्र मोदी के कंट्रोल में होगी. इसलिए मैं फिर से आपको दावत देता हूं कि जब हम तैयार बैठे हैं, किसी किस्म का डायलॉग करना चाहते हैं दहशतगर्दी के ऊपर, हम तैयार हैं. लेकिन मैं फिर से आपको कहूंगा कि इस वक्त बेटर सेंस शुड प्रिवेल. हमें बैठ के बातचीत से अपने मसले हल करने चाहिए.
Earlier, an IAF chopper crashed in Budgam, killing 2 pilots. Both India and Pakistan clarified that the chopper accident was not linked to the dogfight on LOC. As the Indo-Pak border remains tense, it is not known how the crisis will unfold. Will India, having sent Pakistan its message of zero tolerance to terror, now return to hard-nosed diplomacy or turn the heat on Pakistan a few more notches? What is clear is any Pakistan adventure will be met with equal force. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let me go to my first guest this evening. I'm joined by Major General Rashid Qureshi, close aide of former President General Pervez Musharraf, someone who was very much involved when the Kargil attack took place. He was DG ISPR at the time. He's also spokesperson of the All Pakistan Muslim League. I appreciate your joining us. Major General Qureshi, I want to ask you very clearly, how does India trust Pakistan when you talk at one level of peace, but at another level, Pakistan continues to, in a way, provoke India? The action today of taking an Indian Air Force pilot captive after entering Indian airspace, your jets entered our airspace. How can we take any offer for peace from Pakistan seriously, General Qureshi?
Let's get our facts straight. What India did after the Pulwama attack, that is 3-4 days back, when they entered Pakistani airspace and released their weapons to a so-called, against a so-called camp of mujahideen or terrorists, I don't know what you call.
They were terrorists. General Qureshi, they attacked the Jaish terrorist camp.
Hold on. Hold on. There was no Jaish terrorist camp there. Your bombs, which were probably standoff weaponry hogi, they were fired and they hit nothing. People have gone to the place, I haven't, and they have seen a few broken trees, 4 क्या कहेंगे, holes, and maybe a dead crow. There was no casualty. And take it from me, I don't know whether you'll believe me or not, but there was no casualty.
Then
there
why
was
did Pakistan today invade Indian airspace and try and target installations inside Indian border? That is also, that is an act of aggression. Let's be very clear.
Now,
Major General Qureshi, Prime Minister,
let's be very clear.
The Prime Minister talks of peace, your Prime Minister talks of peace, and then you have Pakistani air jets entering Indian airspace today and getting into a dogfight with the IAF, then holding an Indian Air Force pilot captive. How can we trust Pakistan?
Look, just listen. You entered Pakistani airspace. Pakistan wanted to demonstrate to you, without causing any casualties, that Pakistan can do the same.
We entered in a preemptive military strike, General. We entered a preemptive non-military strike. Preemptive non-military strike on a terrorist camp. Now we can disagree about the scale of the damage. But it was a preemptive non-military strike. What you did today was an act of aggression. What are those installations that you were threatening to damage in India? Where are those terror camps inside India? They're not there. They're in your country, sir.
No. What we can ask you, if you are interested, to send your media and have a trip to that place that you think was a terrorist camp and see for themselves that there was nothing there, one. Number two, when Pakistan went in to show you that we can do the same, we did not target any military installation or any civilians. We did not want to cause any casualties. We just wanted to demonstrate that we can do exactly what you can do, if not better.
What you want, the truth, General, is that your Air Force, General, sorry, the truth is that your Air Force was caught napping to the point where the Defense Minister of Pakistan said yesterday, because it was dark, you could not hit back. Now, therefore, the next day, you have to in some way retaliate. You choose to do so. What does Pakistan want? You want to escalate this conflict? Do you really want to escalate this conflict, or do you want to pull back?
No, frankly, I think you want to escalate. And when you sent 2 of your aircraft inside Pakistani airspace again, we shot them down. And you keep saying that you shot down 1 aircraft of the Pakistan Air Force, which is absolutely untrue. There is no loss to Pakistan today.
Imran Khan, the Prime Minister, and Mr. Ghafoor, the DG ISPR, your successor today said 2 Indian jets have been shot down, 1 Indian pilot is in hospital, 1 in our custody. Later he says only 1 Indian jet has been shot down. War by propaganda is going on both sides. But Pakistan seems to be also playing a dangerous escalatory game here.
Listen. Now, one can keep talking in a loud voice. But if you be reasonable, what Pakistan said was that 2 aircraft were shot down, Indian aircraft. 1 crashed within Pakistani Azad Kashmir and the other in Indian occupied Kashmir. Now, we've seen wreckages of 2 aircraft, one on your side and one on Azad Kashmir side. And the pilot was captured, yes, and is now with us. So therefore, proving to you that you again entered Pakistani airspace, and that's where they were shot down. Now, that is past. I think, personally, now I'm giving you my opinion, I'm not part of the government, but as an ex-military officer and someone who has seen India-Pakistan relations go up and down, fluctuate, I think the weaponry that is available to India as well as Pakistan is of such tremendous destructive value that India and Pakistan need to de-escalate. I think what Imran Khan has said, the present Prime Minister, is that everything can be resolved if we talk to each other. I agree with him.
No, but everything, sir, involves a very basic... No, General Qureshi, and you know this stretching back because you have been involved with the Pakistan military for years. The fact is, can we talk to Imran Khan when the fact is the Pakistan military runs the show, General Bajwa runs the show? How can we trust your civilian leadership? Does Imran Khan have the mandate from the military to talk? No, let's be very clear. We've seen it in the past with Nawaz Sharif. We spoke to Mr. Sharif and we had Kargil a few months later with General Musharraf. That's the reality. Can we talk to Mr. Khan at the moment?
I think, look, I can go back into history and say when Siachen occurred, you were responsible. When East Pakistan became Bangladesh, you were responsible. But let's forget about that. I think you can talk to the government in Pakistan. I think you can talk, I'm talking about India, can talk to the Prime Minister Imran Khan, and I think we can move towards de-escalation. I think in our region, and I've been associated with India and Pakistan for a long, long time.
Yes.
I think there is so great potential in this region that we are just ignoring.
So stop backing terror groups. Why doesn't Imran Khan, as a gesture of goodwill, not just hand over the pilot tomorrow morning, but also say, I am taking action against the Jaish-e-Mohammed based on the extensive dossier that today we have provided the Pakistan envoy? You cannot live in denial, General, and on terror groups being patronized by Pakistan, and at the same time say that let's have peace. How can you have peace when your army, of which you were once a part, continues to sponsor terror? How can you have peace and terror don't go together? Talks and terror don't coexist.
I feel you have a terrible gap between what is actually on ground and what you think is the information and intelligence that you collate. I think India needs to take a look at the information and intelligence it has. If you had known that there is no terror camp in Balakot, you wouldn't have attacked that. I think if you had known that the information and...
General, can you cross your heart and tell me there are no terror camps operating in Pakistan that are directing that terror against India? Cross your heart and tell me today. Tell me that there are no terror camps.
Yes, I'm telling you that the best way that you can verify for yourself is if you talk to the government and Imran Khan. I think at that level, instead of retching up the escalation ladder and causing or becoming the reason for a warlike scenario, which Pakistan and India both cannot afford. Let me tell you that. I think a stage comes in one's escalatory ladder where it's untenable for both countries. And I think the quicker we come to that conclusion and realize that and start talking to each other and exchanging views and fight terror together, I think that's the solution.
Okay, let me get in. Air Marshal Kapil Kag has been listening carefully. You're listening to Major General saying let's fight terror together. Denying any presence of Jaish terror camps inside Pakistan, holding India responsible for escalating the conflict. Given what you're hearing, and this is a view of someone who's entrenched with the army establishment, what do you see happening? What does one tell General Qureshi today?
Well, if you haven't, with your powerful arguments, been able to convince him with facts, his history, with developments in the recent past which are entirely credible, and yet he keeps talking about escalation ladder. Where is it? You've just crossed the border and he's putting the fear. Typically Pakistani policy response that first soldier crosses the line of control of border, the nuclear weapon will go off. But let me put this in context. I know Pakistanis are extremely rattled. There is no doubt about it, because by this action we have actually unraveled all that self-deterrence we had over the last many years, that we should not get into conventional, near conventional.
We've essentially called their bluff on nuclear blackmail.
I won't use that expression, but what we have done is we have made that so-called threshold, which they have been articulating from time to time as very rigid and flexible, we have proven through
so we've drawn
action,
a new line in the sand.
We have drawn a new line in the sand and made it more flexible, which has given us greater option. This is not the end of India-Pakistan tension, so that in future, if terror, as you rightly conveyed to General Rashid, if terror continues in any form, the response from us will be varied, it will be upscaled, and yet not touch the nuclear threshold.
General Qureshi, I think somewhere Pakistan has to come to terms with the fact that Narendra Modi is playing a very different kind of politics. Now, we could argue for a moment that this is election season, as some of his critics are saying, and therefore there is a vested interest in escalating the conflict possibly. But Mr. Modi has drawn a line in the sand. He's made it very clear. You attack our soldiers, you do what you do in Pulwama, India will retain the right in self-defense to enter Pakistan airspace. Something that didn't happen in 2001 after the parliament attack, not after 2008 Mumbai. Is Pakistan realizing you're dealing therefore with a very different Indian leadership?
I don't want to say this and get into an argument on what you did and what we did and who has suffered. I think you know that it's very clear. The fact is, do not start blaming us for an activity that has been carried out inside Indian-occupied Kashmir.
General Qureshi, the fact is you are saying all of this. Okay, the line has got disconnected to General Qureshi. I'm going to widen this because I have many more guests who are joining me at this moment. A stage has been set. Rashid Qureshi, close aide of former President General Musharraf, someone very close to Pakistan's military establishment, giving a sense of how the military looks at it. They seem to still be in denial when it comes to the Jaish-e-Mohammed in particular. Kawal Sibal, former Foreign Secretary, is also joining me at this moment. Lieutenant General Rameshwar Roy, former GOC of 16 Corps, is also with us. Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, former DG Infantry. Manoj Joshi, Distinguished Fellow at the Observer Research Foundation, also with us. And as I said, Air Vice Marshal Kapil Kak is with me here in the studio. Naseem Zehra is also hopefully joining us, senior Pakistan journalist. But gentlemen, you've heard Rashid Qureshi set the stage to understand what is the Pakistani mindset. Kawal Sibal, as a distinguished former Foreign Secretary, you tell us, how does one then respond today to Imran Khan's olive branch when you're hearing very clearly, Jaish-e-Mohammed, we're not touching, we're not going there?
But how is that an olive branch? Pakistan is sticking to its standard position that we are not responsible for terror in your country. There are no terrorist organizations.
Imran says, I'm ready to discuss all issues. Sorry to intervene. Imran Khan says, I'm ready to discuss all issues.
No, hold on. Okay. Hafiz side doesn't exist for them. Jaish-e-Mohammed chief doesn't exist for them. Jihadi organizations don't exist for them. Their fingers are not involved in terrorism in India. How do you talk with a country and its leadership like that? And when Imran Khan says we have to talk, But we've been talking to Pakistan since 1996 in a composite dialogue. For years now we have been talking, discussed threadbare. We made tremendous political concessions to Pakistan, even delinking terror and dialogue, so as to give them a political opening to actually do something concrete on the terrorism front so that we can continue the dialogue. But nothing has happened. We are back to square one, and we've had Pulwama, and therefore the government of India under Prime Minister Modi has felt that time had now come to actually take robust action and give the freedom to the armed forces to act at a time and a place and use the methodology that they thought best in terms of dealing with this threat. And we have taken a very bold step, I must say, a very bold step in using air power, not only in POK, but also in mainland Pakistan. In order to attack terrorist targets, but we gave an opening to Pakistan not to escalate by saying it was not a military operation, it was directed at terrorism.
Yes, but a robust operation of this kind also comes with certain costs and consequences. Let me get the military men in. Lieutenant General Rameshwar Rao, we've seen what's happened today. An Indian Air Force plane has been shot down. The pilot has been captured. Given that there is the threat of this conflict escalating, is this a risk we should be taking, going up the escalatory ladder? General Qureshi also said, virtually holding out the threat of this conflict spiraling out of control. How do we respond, General?
See, Rajdeep, whatever General Qureshi has said, it's very surprising that he should be saying it, because Musharraf maintained it all along that these terrorists are their strategic assets. Therefore, this denial by Qureshi is nothing more than fictitious. The second aspect that he did not notice or he did not mention, that by taking air strikes against the terrorist targets, India has shown its political resolve that hereafter this will be the new normal. As and when they would like to carry out any terrorist action on our land, they will be responded strongly. And what de-escalation is he talking of? We have hardly escalated. Just an airstrike of this nature, or the way he was talking about his F-16s, if they did not have any target, they did not have any payloads, then did they come for tourism across the LC? What were they doing here? And were they not effectively intercepted by our MiG-21s? So what is he talking about? We have hardly escalated that the Pakistan starts talking about de-escalation. They need to watch.
Therefore, Rashid Qureshi joins us. General Qureshi is back.
Situation.
Yes, General Qureshi is back. General Qureshi, here you have General Roy and Kawal Sibal saying, you are living in denial. And once again, General Qureshi, it appears, as is being suggested by others, that the Pakistanis today are rattled. In that, you were determined to show something that you've done to your own people. You're also playing to your domestic constituency. And that is the danger. At the moment, you are a country, sir, which is facing serious financial crises. This is the last thing you need. You tell me, how far do you want to take this? And why do you want to take it that far at all? Why not just act against the Jaish-e-Mohammed? What is this prized strategic asset that you have of a proven global terrorist who's on your soil?
I think if you have issues like the ones that you're voicing now, I think your government should be talking to my government.
We've spoken in the past, sir. We've spoken several times in the past. Our Prime Minister came, met Nawaz Sharif in Pakistan. Within a month of that, we had Pathankot. We met at Ufa. After that, there were attacks. How do you speak to someone when you attack us the moment we have a dialogue? You use the dialogue period only to get a respite.
But please listen and understand that if you resort to what you've started doing, ingress into Pakistani airspace and bombing an area in which there is no terrorist activity at all, and I'm talking about Balakot now, there will be a response. You can't do this. You can't come into Pakistani airspace and start throwing bombs left, right, and center.
You
regardless
can't
of the
become a
fact that
haven
no,
for the
there were no
Masood Azhars of
casualties.
the world. You can't become a haven
No,
for the
no,
Masood
hold
Azhars
on.
of the world. You and I can go on with this tutu meme, sir. The fact is, these are proven facts.
Okay.
Whether there's a terrorist camp in Balakot, you can deny it today. But what is proven is Masood Azhar lives in Bawalpur, has his full seminary there, was involved in the Kandahar hijacking, was released by India after the Kandahar hijacking, was involved in the terror attack on Parliament, was involved in the attack on the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, has been involved in acts of Kashmir where the Jaish has claimed responsibility, and you today are claiming deniability. How can you do that? You have to make an effort.
Look,
where is the visible effort?
Look at the level of intelligence that you have, that you sent in aircraft to bomb a place where you said there is a terrorist camp and where there was nothing.
That's your
If this
claim.
is the level of information and intelligence that you have, then you have a lot of gaps in your intelligence gathering. I think you need to concentrate on that, and before you start accusing a country of terrorism, you need to first find out whether you have the facts right or not. I think
Yes.
you have a total divergence in what is there actually on ground and what you think that there is on ground.
You know, it almost seems as if for you, Masood Azhar doesn't exist as an invisible man. But we've heard this in the past. Very quickly, Marshal Khan.
No, well, the point I'm making is this deniability is reaching such awesome proportions. General Qureshi needs to reflect within himself, why is it that Pakistan is today targeted by the entire world as a country which hosts terrorists on its soil and exports terrorism to the region. I mean, it's not just India. The entire region as well as the world is bringing on the table all the elements which make it almost 100% certain that Pakistan is a terrorist state.
You know, it's Afghanistan, it's Iran. General Qureshi, this is a plea from the Indian side. If you really want to de-escalate, then you've got to walk the talk. And every time I have a Pakistani guest, they don't seem to want to do it. That's what is troubling me, General Qureshi. It is almost as if you believe that this will also go away one day and we'll be back to normal. It's not normal business anymore. In a sense, India sent you that message yesterday, sir. When we violated, as you claim, Pakistani airspace, we said we reserve the sovereign right in our self-defense to target a terror camp.
When there is no terror camp, what were you targeting?
You know, General Qureshi, you and I are going to go on in circles. Where does Masood Azhar live? Where does Hafiz Saeed live? Are we saying the Lashkar was not involved in 2611? I'm asking you one last time. What are these prized strategic assets that you want to hold on to so desperately to push the subcontinent towards war? Why do it? Why do it at all? What are you gaining?
I think what you need to do is, what your government needs to do is to talk to the Pakistan government, and you will find out what the facts are. And frankly, it's not for you or me to decide sitting on this talk show that whether I'm correct or you are correct. You will find out if you start talking to each other. And I'm talking about the two governments now. Now,
General Prasad?
the very fact that you said,
yes,
the very fact that you said that India shot down a Pakistani F-16 is a total lie. There is no aircraft that Pakistan has lost in the last 1 week. So what are you saying? And then when we shoot down your aircraft, you say, oh, why have you captured our pilot? Why was he inside Pakistani airspace? He was shot down and he was captured. What would you have done? You would have done the
General
same.
Shankar Prasad, respond to what you're hearing from the Pakistanis. Here you have General Qureshi giving you the Pakistani viewpoint here today on the channel, someone intrinsically connected with the army. Your response, General Prasad.
Rajdeep, General Qureshi very well knows, and he mentions a word about Bangladesh, and that is where the whole story starts from. Having had a terrible defeat at Bangladesh, Pakistan army military decided under General Musharraf and others, that we have only one option to start terrorism into India and bleed India by 1,000 cuts. This is very well known to General Qureshi, and this is the stated policy of the Pakistan Army. They do not want, they certainly know for sure that they cannot go into a conventional operation with us. Therefore, they started terrorism. If you expect Major General Qureshi to today admit that they promote terrorism against India, I'm sorry, you're only going to hit the wall. We have trouble with terrorism. We have no trouble with anybody else. Indians and Pakistanis are pretty good friends elsewhere outside when it has nothing to do with each other in their own countries. But terrorism is the issue. So how do we fight terrorism? We tried speaking to them for 20 years. We tried telling them all kinds of things. The world population tried to tell them. They have not understood. So finally, when all patience has been lost, we've gone and attacked their terrorist camp. If you expect Qureshi to admit that Balakot was not a terrorist camp, well then he will continue to deny. He even denied the Uri incident. He said nothing happened. There were no terrorists there, even though we got enough evidence to say 40, 50, 60 terrorists were killed in Uri incident also. How will you expect General Qureshi to admit today that Balakot has had a huge casualties? He'll only say 4 trees and a crow died. There is no point discussing any matter with him. They are the people who are authors of terrorism. They support and promote. Why are you asking him about Jaish-e-Mohammed,
Can
or
I
about
for a moment?
Mazur Adar, about Lakwi, about Dawood Ibrahim? All of these chaps, they are their assets. They are their assets created by them. I don't think this is a question that you need to ever ask them. And they will keep denying it. But the point we must understand, no, the point we must understand is, Rajdeep, we have to fight terrorism. And we shall continue to fight it.
Can we though, can we do it by, no, just a minute.
We will take some more action against terrorism.
No, but
if they come against us.
No, sir, but the fact is, therefore, if we are going to strike against Pakistani-based terrorism, we are going to enter Pakistani airspace as we did yesterday. Now, General Qureshi, I presume you see that as an act of aggression. As is being suggested by the Indian panelists on my show, they are drawing a new line in the sand. They are saying if you do a Pulwama, we reserve the right to enter your airspace. That is an escalatory conflict. General Qureshi, is Pakistan aware of that or not? That this could escalate and spiral out of control.
We did not do Pulwama. It was a Kashmiri inside Indian occupied Kashmir. It was so much of explosives that he took from within Indian occupied Kashmir. Everything that has happened because of your attitude and the way you've been going on about Kashmir. If that had been resolved, there would have been no issue. And I'm sure that blaming Pakistan for Pulwama is just an excuse.
You know, let me bring in Manoj Joshi, who joins me. He's been listening patiently. Manoj, as the journalist on this panel, in a sense, you're listening to military voices, diplomatic voices. We seem caught in a trap at the moment where India, yes, has drawn a new line in the sand. Now Pakistan has retaliated. Is there any scope for de-escalation? Or do you believe the pressures now both in India and Pakistan are such that we are going up the escalatory ladder, Manoj Joshi?
No, we certainly seem to be, the military people want to take us up the escalatory ladder. But I think that if you look at the Foreign Secretary's statement yesterday, and you look at the Pakistani statement today, and Imran Khan's statement, I think there is sufficient room for de-escalation. See, as far as the issue of terrorism is concerned, this is not going to end right now. You're right that we've drawn a new line in the sand. I think it's very important that we have done so. But I think this is the time to take, this is the old Leninist slogan, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So we've taken 2 steps forward. We can take 1 step back and we'll still be 1 step ahead.
But can Prime Minister Modi, Manoj Joshi, afford to do that?
In this
Manoj Joshi, can Prime Minister Modi in an election season afford to take one step back? Can he take 1 step back at this moment? Having taken this conflict to this level, can the Prime Minister now pull back? He has promised a muh tod jawab. Was Balakot enough? Given the fact that the Pakistanis are now saying there weren't 300 terrorists out there in the first place.
connect with him.
You see, the thing is that we've seen that this cannot be cost-free. Yesterday, we said that we'd attacked this place and our planes had come back and we had suffered no casualties, which was a great day. Everyone celebrated it. But today, we have seen that there could be a cost. And if it goes beyond this, the costs could mount in an exponential fashion. So at that point, I think Prime Minister Modi might like to ask himself, can the nation afford to pay that cost at this juncture? Meaning, we are on the threshold of economic transformation. You get into a war, even limited skirmishes all over the line of control. Pakistan goes down, but we also go down with them. So I think we need to pause in our strategy. We have, as I said, taken 2 steps forward. And so there is nothing wrong in taking 1 step back.
Very interesting. Can we really press the pause button? I'm going to come to all my panelists. I'm going to press the pause button. Can India afford now to press the pause button? Can we actually de-escalate the conflict, or is the domestic pressure on both sides such that it is going to become very difficult to do that? Welcome back. More breaking news coming in at the moment after 3 long back-to-back meetings now by Prime Minister Modi with the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Defence Minister and intelligence officials and 3 service chiefs. Government sources saying we are not going to buckle under pressure. Befitting reply, they say, will be given at a proper time. 3 service chiefs have been given a free hand to take a future course of action. So clearly India has decided that they will not press the pause button at the moment, even after an Indian Air Force pilot is now being held in captivity. That seems, of course, as I said, source-based information at the moment. The breaking information that government says they won't buckle to Pak pressure after an Indian Air Force pilot has been held in captivity. Kamal Sibal, how do you respond to this? You know, this is the danger that I've been pointing out, that domestic pressure now seems to be driving the political agenda in an election season. Should the Prime Minister be pulling back as previous Prime Ministers have done after having made their point? Or is Narendra Modi on the right track? There will be those now who will say that the Prime Minister also needs to exercise an element of strategic restraint.
I think he's absolutely on the right track. I don't see why we should step back or pause the button. If Pakistan accepts its responsibility to deal with terrorism and take some credible and verifiable steps to do that, then yes, a dialogue can start. But they can't, as this General Qureshi, who's been spouting nonsense on your channel for so long, if he continues to deny that there are any terrorists in Pakistan and there were no terrorists in Balakot, what is he suggesting to us, that we should hit at Bahawalpur and Muridke? What kind of nonsense is that? And the fact that one pilot has been captured, if this is going to sap our national morale and tie down our hands, then the Americans who suffered 7,000 casualties in Afghanistan and lost a very advanced plane over Yugoslavia, and the Russians who lost 2 planes in Syria, then they should all have packed up and gone home because they can't suffer 1 single casualty. What kind of a thinking and approach is this? We are in a real world. And when we take military action, there are bound to be casualties. There is no free pass. So therefore, to actually build this up into some kind of an issue which should hold us back is demoralizing the nation unnecessarily. Yes, it's unfortunate this has happened, but look, the fact that the MiG-21, which we are phasing out, can bring down an F-16 shows how vulnerable the Pakistan Air Force is.
He's denying that. Pakistan, let me be clear. Pakistan is denying that.
They can only take some action on the ground across the LOC, but we can deal with it.
Okay. Pakistan, of course, is denying that their F-16 was shot down. But the point that Kamal Sibal makes, the appetite for escalating the conflict, do you believe it is there? Let's be honest. We are in an election season. If body bags start returning back, today it's been 1 pilot captured. If you escalate it, there could be violence on both sides. There could be casualties on both sides. Do you believe that we should disregard that and believe this is now the final assault in a way on Pakistan? There are those who are saying it will have no impact on terrorism. Just bombing one camp is not going to change the rules of the game.
That's for sure. That's for sure, because terror going out of the mindset and DNA of Pakistan would take a while. We have to understand. But I would like to go almost entirely with you that having drawn a line in the sand as a stronger nation, as a more responsible power admired by the world, as a country which will be the second largest economy in the world less than 18 years from now, it is us. Prime Minister Modi must rise above domestic and electoral considerations and show himself as a statesman to the world that he is drawing back a little in terms of strategic restraint.
You don't win elections on strategic restraint.
But that is not the point. What must prevail? Strategy, India's grand strategy, or an election? We have to make a decision on that. And fourthly, I think this is the most crucial point. Restraint is the call of the hour. The powers which are supporting India today, world powers, their support will dry up if we do not exercise restraint and not let this escalate. Because, you know, at the end of the day, Rajdeep, we have to ask ourselves, if this conflict continues, what is the objective? War is not for emotion, it's not for satisfying domestic constituencies, it is with an objective. If we get stuck into a war which is a slow motion war and will keep India and Pakistan busy for the next months, then we have achieved nothing.
You know, General Roy, that's precisely it. What are our objectives at the moment? Are they to smash the terrorist infrastructure of Pakistan? Will that get smashed by this one airstrike that we took yesterday? Audacious, daring, remarkable though it may be in terms of the manner in which it was executed. Is that enough? There are those who believe this will only spawn more terrorists. Is that the answer? Surely that we need to have a clear strategic objective that can't be confused with short-term political objectives.
Rajdeep, the point is that the strategic objective that we would have designed for ourselves is that the Pakistan's language must change as far as terrorism is concerned. If it doesn't, then after some time the effect wears off and business as usual once again continues. Now the point is that whenever the decision to strike Pakistan into the deep into their heart was taken, I am sure that the government had gone through the complete process of thinking through the strategy that would follow. We have hardly taken an action and people have started talking about de-escalation. Therefore, what will happen is if this action has been taken with an eye on the election, then it's more for political reasons than for the result that the nation is trying to show. Therefore, I would be strongly in favor of the fact that Pakistan must be made to change the language that it has spoken for last 30 years. It must not be in denial mode. It must start accepting the fact that the strategic assets that they had till now have now become strategic liabilities. If that doesn't happen, I think we are leaving the complete action halfway through.
But we saw what happened after the surgical strikes of September of 2016. Terror activity in Kashmir only grew. There is a problem within also, Manoj Joshi, that we will have to tackle. And I just wonder whether there is an element of ad hocism. There's an element of grabbing the headlines. Yes, we've got big, bold headlines. We've gone into Pakistan. I just wonder, Manoj Joshi, how are you...
That precisely is my point.
This cannot be about headline management.
That precisely is my point, that if we leave it halfway, then that exactly would happen what happened after surgical strikes. So we need to press the action on. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
No, but what is that action on? What is that, Manoj Joshi? What is that future action? Do we have a plan for Kashmir? Do we really have a Pakistan policy that's been consistent?
Answer is no.
No, it isn't. You know, the thing is, this government has made a mess of its Kashmir policy, which is a fact. They have made a mess of the Pakistan policy, which is also a fact.
Yes.
See, Pakistan is not something which can be resolved by a surgical strike or an airstrike. It's a long-term issue. You have to use, there are occasions when you have to use force. We should also be preparing for a longer-term covert operations in Pakistan. We've not been doing it. I mean, you look at the last 20, 30 years, you can see there's virtually no evidence of serious activity, covert activity by the Indian side to deal with Pakistan. So what I'm trying to get at is that everything seems to be ad hoc out here. Something happens, you respond. So the same thing happened when you had the so-called surgical strikes. Thereafter, within exactly a month after the surgical strikes, the Nagrota, which is the 16 Corps headquarters, was hit by the Jaish-e-Mohammed, and the government did nothing.
Okay.
Thereafter, there have been attacks all through 2018, 2017.
So what?
The government did nothing. So my point is, if you want to deter, deter Pakistan, you have got to be consistent in your military policy. And subsequently, Pakistan, on the other hand, is going to respond militarily because it's equally imperative for them to try to show that they can resist the Indian side.
Right.
So this is the game which the two sides have to play.
Manoj Joshi, I've run almost
completely. This is the longer-term game that is being made out at present.
Okay, that's a, General Prasad, I have 20 seconds and
Can I make a point before you close, Raj?
Yeah, I only have 20 seconds. How long do we have the appetite now to take this further? Very quickly.
I will,
very quickly, sir.
Yes.
Rajdeep,
yes,
the action must go on
the view of
till the conclusion is...
Give me 20 seconds, please, Rajdeep.
Very quickly.
I completely endorse the view of Admiral Ambassador Sybil. If we have taken the first step, we now must go full hog. We must fight this out, otherwise we shouldn't have done what we did. If we're now going to pull back and show what you call statesmanship, I'm sorry, our nose is going to be cut. I suggest that we should have not done anything. Fine, keep suffering the way we were suffering. You can keep suffering for another 20 years. But
okay, you made your point. Your 20 seconds are up, sir.
We cannot retard, we cannot come back.
Okay, you made your point. Okay, we cannot take an action. Air Marshal Kag, you have a different view.
Thank you so much.
I have a different view. Firstly, we have sort of
quickly, 20 seconds.
Given a response to Pulwama.
We've given a response to Pulwama.
We have satisfied the domestic constituencies. I think getting into a messy war is not a strategic option for us. We have gathered strategic space in terms of changing the threshold, perception of Pakistan's threshold, that we can go inside without touching the nuclear threshold. This sends a signal, a strategic signal and messaging to Pakistan that you do terror next time, we will respond in another way.
Okay, so there are two views coming out. One, that this is the time for strategic restraint. The other view is that having gone this far, we cannot pull back. That's the view, two views as we get across this panel. Different views, obviously. Thank you all very much for joining me at this moment. My take, the fact that one bloodied Indian pilot is in Pakistan captivity is a grim reminder of the dangers of an escalating conflict. Embarrassed after being caught napping by the Indian Air Force's audacious attack on Pak-based terror camps, the capture of a pilot has given Pakistan an opportunity to boost its armed forces' morale. Truth is, there are no winners and losers in such war games and one-upmanship. Imran Khan is not wrong when he says that the war rhetoric can spiral out of control and have unintended consequences. However, Mr. Khan needs to walk the talk. You can't talk peace and then choose not to act against terrorists like Masood Azhar. India too must accept that public emotion and war hysteria should not drive the agenda of sovereign nations. War threatens growth and progress in a turbulent neighborhood. Mr. Modi too needs to set aside domestic pressure and show the statesmanship that can rise above the din. Yes, trust won't be built overnight with a hostile neighbor, but you can't change your neighbors either. Why, for example, doesn't Mr. Khan release the pilot being held captive right away as a goodwill gesture? And while netas play their politics of brinkmanship, let me leave you tonight with a fine quote for all citizens of this country. Those who celebrate war will not participate in the war. Those who participate in the war will never celebrate war. Thanks for watching. Good night, goodbye.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.